Okay, so we've got a few kind of different examples of questions here, and there are all kind of examples of these on Heggerty that you're going to have to do kind of with today's task. This is all stuff that you'd have seen before, but we're obviously going to go over it again just kind of in case obviously you're unsure about where to kind of go with them. So the aim of all of these equations is to calculate what x is and find out exactly what x is. So we've got 4x add 2 is equal to 22. Now the way that I'd like you to tackle anything like that is you want to end up with all the x's on one side of the equation first. So the easiest way to do that is to move or get rid of this plus 2 here. So to remove this plus 2 from the equation, what I need to do is take away 2 from this side of the equation. Now if I take away 2 from here, it's like a balancing effect. If I take away 2 here, I have to take away 2 from the other side as well. Now that means that I'm just left with 4x is equal to 22, take away 2 as well, is 20. So because I've taken away 2 from this side, that plus 2 is now cancelled out, it's disappeared, it's gone, and 22 take away 2 is 20. So I've got 4x is equal to 20. And then my next step here is I've got to divide by 4 on this side to get one singular x on its own. And if I divide this side by 4, I've also got to divide this side by 4 as well. So I'll divide by 4. Because it's 4x, I want to know what 1 is on its own. 20 divided by 4 is 5. And if you go back to it and you want to check it, so 4 times 5 is 20, adds 2 would give us 22. Okay. Now, the second one that I've got here relates to what we were doing yesterday. There are actually a couple ways of doing this, but we'll show you both ways just in case. So the first way of doing this is to expand out the bracket first. Now, if you remember how to do that, it'd be 8 times x and the 8 times 5. Now we get 8x plus 8 times 5 is 40 is equal to 32. So you can do it that way first. Now, if I was going to continue this, I want to end up with all the x's on one side and all the numbers on the other. To do that, I've got to get rid of this 40. To get rid of the 40, I've got to take away 40 from this side, which means I've got to take away 40 from this side. So I'm left with 8x. This plus 40 and negative 40, they're going to cancel each other out, so that disappears. And 32 take away 40 is negative 8. So this is where negative numbers are going to potentially come into it again. So I've got 8x is equal to negative 8. Now I want 1x on its own, and to get 1x on its own, I've got to divide this side by 8. Now if I divide this side by 8, I've also got to divide this side by 8. So negative 8 divided by 8 is negative 1. Okay? So if you think about it, and you want to check it again, put negative 1 in here. So negative 1 add 5 is 4. 4 times 8 gives me 32. Spot on. Now the other way of doing it, which I will do on this side, so if we've got 8, x plus 5 is equal to 32. The other way of doing it is dividing by what is actually in front of the bracket first. So this is 8 times x plus 5 is equal to 32. So what I can do is go straight to x plus 5. So if I divide this side by 8, and I divide the other side by 8, dividing this side by 8 just leaves me with x plus 5. And if I do 32 divided by 8, that gives me 4. So there are kind of two opposite ways of doing it. Do whichever way you prefer. This way would give me x is equal to, if I have to take away 5 from both sides, that will give me x equals negative 1. Depends which way you are more comfortable kind of with doing. Okay, you've worked on expanding out of a bracket, so maybe concentrate on this one if you feel comfortable with it. But if you are more comfortable with your algebra skills and you're happy to do this way, either or. I'm going to focus on this way just for the next problem as well, just to follow the steps. So with this one, again, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to expand out of these brackets. So negative 42 stays exactly the same. I get 6 times x, which gives me 6x. 6 times negative 6. 6 times 6 is 36, but 6 times negative 6 is negative 36. Okay, now I want to get the x's on their own again, so it has switched sides, but the same rules kind of still apply. I want to end up with 6x on its own. For that, I need to add 36 here, which means I need to also add 36 onto this side. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Now that's going to leave me with just 6x on this side. And if I've got negative 32, add 36, I'm just left with negative 6. I want 1x on its own, so I need to divide by 6 here. If I divide by 6 here, also got to divide by 6 on this side, and I'm left with negative 1. And x is equal to negative 1 again. Okay. If you want to check it, negative 1, negative 1 take away 6 is negative 7. If you imagine I take away £1 from you, then take away another £6 from you, I've taken away £7 from you. So this will be 6 times negative 7. 6 times 7 is 42. 6 times negative 7 is negative 42. So that works perfectly. Okay, so I've got a few different examples kind of here to follow. All of the questions on Hegarty are going to be relating to one of these kind of examples. So find whichever one you kind of need to follow, and then you can just follow my example alongside the Hegarty questions. Okay, so good luck with that.